Coming up on Mountain News this morning, after serving 22 years in the Kentucky Senate, Damon Thayer has officially announced he will not be running for re-election. And the Hazard Police Department bonded with local students through the Shop with a Cop event.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Madison Carmouche. We are coming up on 5 a.m. on December 14th, 2023. But first, let's check in with meteorologist Shane Smith for a look at your forecast this morning. Shane, funny seeing you here.
Yes, I feel like it's the weekend.
I know, right?
On the morning, but it is good to see you, Madison. And we got some dry weather to talk about today. We're staying dry for a couple more days. I know that's been the story all week in the world of weather, and we're going to enjoy it because things get a little bit interesting as we get towards Sunday. There's your little deep tease. All right, here's what's going on right now. Satellite radar picture this morning, nice and dry across the mountains of southern and eastern Kentucky. We go to our SkyCam network and you can see we are mostly clear across the entirety of the area, and that's allowed the temperatures to drop down quite a bit. It's a little bit chilly in a few spots this morning. Irvine down to 20, and the same story in Ashland, 27, Moorhead, Williamsburg, Somerset. Good morning, Manchester and Jonesville. You're both at 23, 32 at Wise, 25 in town here in Hazard, 26 down in Middlesboro. Taking you out the door today, going to be warmer than yesterday. We're going low to mid 50s across the area today under mostly sunny skies, about 4 or 5 degrees above where we should be for this time of year typically. And we're going to see even warmer temperatures as we head towards the weekend. But then on the second half of the weekend, things turn a little bit soggy. We'll talk more about that coming up here in just a few minutes, Madison.
Shane, thank you. Republican Senate Majority Leader Damon Thayer announced yesterday he will not be seeking re-election next year. Thayer has championed conservative priorities and has frequently been critical of Democratic Governor Andy Beshear, who was just sworn in for a second term on Tuesday. At the end of his term in late 2024, Thayer will have represented Scott and some other counties for 22 years, and he's been the majority floor leader for more than a decade. Now he says it's time for him to move on.
You know, I just feel like it's better to leave a little early than stay too long. At the end of my term, it'll be 22 years in the Senate, 12 years as majority leader.
The 17th Senate district that Thayer represents includes Scott and Grant counties and small portions of Fayette and Kenton. Thayer says he will support Louisville Senator Julie Rack Adams for majority leader once he leaves. Utility assistance for low-income households starts on January 9th. The program is called LEHEAP. The crisis component runs through March 31st. It helps people who would otherwise have no heat. Households must meet income requirements and provide some documents to qualify. You can apply at any community action agency. Addiction Recovery Care has announced plans to open a facility in Southwest Virginia. Crews will transform the former Irvington Elementary School into a women's treatment facility in Nora, Virginia. Developers hope the facility to be open by the end of 2025. The Dickinson County Director of Economic Development says in part, quote, "The announcement of a women's facility is a major step toward turning the tide of addiction in Southwest Virginia." Floyd County is working to help those impacted by last year's floods with funding from FEMA. FEMA announced more than $1.5 million in awarded funds for the county to purchase 13 properties impacted by the floods. The homes are a part of more than 100 applicants for the FEMA buyout program. Officials say the process has been quicker than usual, which they hope is a good sign for homeowners still waiting.
The voluntary process that we've had before has taken 4 to 6 years. FEMA has, this money has been appropriated in the last 6 months. And like I said, we've already got 18 homes that we've closed on.
More than 20 homeowners are expected to close on buyout deals by February. Williams hopes the FEMA funding will continue to roll in until everyone is back on solid ground. The former owner of a Kentucky drug clinic has pleaded guilty on federal charges. Christy Berry pleaded guilty to one charge of conspiracy to commit health care fraud and one charge of conspiracy to illegally distribute drugs. According to her plea agreement, Berry caused an $800,000 loss to taxpayer-funded health programs, which she will have to pay back. The clinics she ran were operated in Clark and Johnson counties. 3 other defendants in the case pleaded not guilty. Berry will face sentencing in March. Officers with the Hazard Police Department got the chance to bond with students through Shop with a Cop. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox tells us how the activities brought joy to everyone involved.
It was an opportunity Hazard Police were eager to take.
We got a grant. We got grant money to do this, so it's not costing any city money or anything. So we just got together with the schools and planned it out.
10 students from Roy G. Eversole Elementary and Hazard Middle School each were accompanied by an officer. Each student got to spend up to $150. A lot of it was spent in toys and clothing.
Mostly stuff like that. Some of the younger kids, you know, that's what they seem to be interested in this year, so we've got a lot of that.
Along with toys and clothes, officers had the opportunity to interact positively with children.
The kids here only see police officers in bad circumstances, but this right here, this gives us as much joy as it does them, just being able to give back to the community. Except for some who are just pure mean, but anyway, it gives us a chance to get back to the community.
Ingalls says his favorite part is the comments from kids throughout their shopping adventure.
By far, it's the kids and just watching them interact, and you know, some of them they're so unselfish they want to buy stuff for their siblings or their mom or their dad.
Ingalls also says anyone that wants to donate to their next Shop with a Cop can do so by contacting the Hazard Police Department. In Hazard, Channel Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Hazard Police Chief Darren Williams also says this was their first Shop with a Cop since he became chief, and he is eager to do it again next year. Thanks for getting your day started with us here on Mountain News this morning. Coming up, we'll take a look at the official impeachment inquiry into President Biden and the response from politicians.
And the forecast staying dry for a couple more days, but changes on the way. We'll talk about them after the break.